Hello, Panthers. We're going to talk about step 4, which is a number of questions. You're going to have at least 7 questions regarding your ecosystem. As you can see here, there are 4 required questions that must be answered during your research. So once again, you can use Google Draw for words and images to answer each of the questions. The questions you have are, how is your ecosystem organized? So thinking about how the different layers, how the different items interact with each other. This would be the different, abiotic and biotic organisms. The second one is, how do organisms interact with one another in your system? So this is kind of going back to step 3. This is where you'd be drawing and writing a little bit more about how your ecosystem, how the organisms, these are living things, interact with each other. So organisms are living. What is biodiversity? That might be a new word. It might not, depending on how far we are with our unit, but biodiversity. And why is it important in your ecosystem? If we haven't gotten to biodiversity yet, you probably want to look that up or ask around. And then the last one that you're required to answer is, how are humans impacting your ecosystem and how can it be monitored and minimized? So if you think about the second part of that prairie video we watched, for this one, I'd be including things like farmland, taking up the prairie, the impact of taking the buffalo, the impact of barbed wire, of humans coming across the westward expansion. So your ecosystem would be different because you aren't doing prairies. And then, as always, you're going to be adding resources. Then the bottom, there are 5 questions, but you only have to pick 3. Okay, so how does the availability of resources affect population of organisms in your ecosystem? So resources would be like food, light, basically the types of energy. So, for example, if all of a sudden all the grasshoppers in a prairie were killed by, let's say, pesticides, then the grasses might grow more because the grasshoppers aren't there to eat the grass. But then if the orb spiders were lucky enough to survive the pesticides, then the orb spiders wouldn't have as much to eat because now the grasshoppers are gone. So another example might be the grasses would become less biodiverse without fire. So just some examples. The second one is, how do organisms, you need to include one plant and one animal, get matter to grow and repair their bodies. So this is talking about what they eat and the energy they take in, the actual food part of it. How do they get the food? How do they grow? How do they repair? So an organism to survive must grow and repair their bodies, both plants and animals. Another option, bullet 3 here, how do organisms, one plant and one animal, get energy? So this would be talking about food webs. The next one is, how do changes in the physical or biological components of your ecosystem affect the population? So what happens when, maybe the temperature goes up or the temperature goes down? That'd be a physical example. A biological example, might be, some organisms, maybe invasive species or things like that, have invaded your area. And the last one, how does natural selection change a population over time? So natural selection is the process at which animals are eaten, the strong survive, and then the strong reproduce, which keeps different groups healthy. So you need to pick 7, even though there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 questions. You don't have to do 2 of the bottom ones, so you can just delete 2. Once you're done with this, and this one's going to take a while, this one's going to take some research, it's going to take some thinking, it's going to take a lot of soft skills to get done. You're going to be conferencing with your teacher, the teacher will initial, and then once again, add to your resources. So step 2 and 3 are going to lead you right into step 4. As always, the better you did for step 2 and 3, the better step 4 will be. Hopefully you don't have to go back and redo, or add to step 2 or 3, but a lot of questions to answer, creating a Google Draw for each with words and images. As always, if you have any questions, please ask your teacher, and have a great day, Panthers.